Not
Hmm.
what you do it, it's about how well you do it.
Hmm.
The first part is having the content well rounded.
Hmm.
Second part is a practice because we also need to be able to execute it in the exam.
Hmm.
So that comes only with developing an MCQ aptitude.
Hmm.
So the difference lies in like,
Hmm.
and like 10 days I went to various people. I met various people in Delhi, like showing my papers, like, okay, what is going on?
Hmm.
And not many people actually gave answers of substance. Like, I mean, they were saying very generic comments like, okay, do this, do that, but there's nothing, not many people were able to find out exactly what went wrong. And
Hmm.
you gave some tips, sir, which I felt, okay, this actually, oh, this makes a difference. This is what I'm actually missing in the, that's why I was getting less marks.
Hmm.
So yes, sir. So that's why I joined a mentorship, and throughout as well, when I mean, you were evaluating the papers, I actually found, okay, it's the same content. It's not, you never advised me to read more content, bring more content. It was
Hmm.
always, how do we use the existing content to write a better answer?
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Toppers Talk series that we have been conducting. And in today's episode, we have with us Jaswant JEENU Sri, who had scored an AIR rank of 162, and he has been a student, my student, for last 1.5 years. So first of all, congratulations, Jaswant. And how does it to be feel, or how did it feel to be in the list again?
Thank you, sir. First of all, it's been surreal, sir. Overall, like seeing my name in the list with such a good rank, especially. And moreover, I think, yes, I have been in the list before, but I think this is the first time I actually had time to absorb it because last two times within 5 days I had prelims. So again, I had to fall back in the cycle. This time, like I had time. So yes, sir,
Yes. Okay.
enjoying all
So
of it.
you had qualified for Indian Postal Service in 2021.
Yes.
So how was that experience, like being part of a probationer and all? What did like how was that journey?
Sir, uh, I was able to get into postal service through 21 exam, but actually I had only limited experience of the probation, sir, because I took an UL then, like in 20, I joined in 22 December, I took an UL for 1 year. So this year again joined it, sir, after 1 year, but like after 2 months, I shifted to IRMS. So it's only a limited experience, sir, 2, 3 months, but yes, sir, being part of the service gives you a different perspective. So the exposure, the kind of exposure we get is different. Also, in postal service, our batch was quite small this year. We were only 6 members in the academy. So yes, sir, the bonding was quite tight. And also, there's a chance service being in the as a probationer gives you the opportunity to interact with people who we don't normally interact with, be high retired civil servants and many more. So yes, so that was a really good experience for
So you shifted from one IPS to another IPS, Indian Postal to Indian Police.
me.
Okay.
Yes,
So, like, what was your family's reaction when they saw the result? Like, how happy they were? Like, what was their immediate reaction when they saw the result?
yes, I remember actually my room is on the terrace. So immediately when I saw it, I rushed down and like announced it. Actually, they were a bit tense because last year my name wasn't in the list. Because after seeing my name in the 22 list, I missed it narrowly.
Yeah.
So that was they were a bit tense. But yes, once I told them, they were like relieved, completely relieved. I immediately made a video call to people who are not in the house at the time. And yes, sir,
Okay.
everyone was awaiting it from the morning. I told them like today it might be from 2 3 days it was going on, and
Uh-huh.
finally they were relieved.
Actually, the last year they would have expected more, right? Because you got into the list in 2021. So everybody
Yes, sir.
expects that next year to definitely you'll improve your rank.
Yes, sir.
So after being in the list once and then not being in the list in the next attempt, it must have been very disappointing for you and for them also.
Yes, sir. So even for me, I mean, it was difficult to understand as well. Okay, disappointing, but I was like, okay, why didn't I improve? Because my JS scores were stagnant. Like because we expect improvement. Even I thought I had much better content, but the scores were exactly the same. There's no difference. So so I had to understand why that happened, and that I had to correct that. So yes, it was a learning as well. Like because even if I had got more marks, I mean, I would have got just some. Mostly, I would have landed in IRMS itself
Yes,
because
yes, yes.
it wouldn't have made much difference.
Yes, yes. In fact, you got a service of your choice in the
Yes,
reserve list, and then you got in the main list, and then your name was there.
yes, sir.
So, and you are the first civil servant of your family. Like, what has been your educational background and your family background?
Yes, sir. I'm the first civil servant, sir. So coming to my family background, I grew up with my grandparents in my grandparents' house itself. My mother also was with me. My mother is a government school teacher, and my father used to stay in the nearby village. He used to come every weekend. So he unfortunately he expired 4 years ago.
Oh.
So yes, sir. So yes, and coming to my educational background, initial my schooling was in Kakinada, and then my graduation was in computer science, sir, from IIT Kanpur. And then later I worked in Samsung R&D as well for 3 years, and then I made the switch.
So you did your computer engineering from IIT Kanpur. I mean, post COVID, we are seeing that so much surge of IT engineers in demand. So did you thought of giving the attempt while you were in college, or you were like, okay, after you came out of college, then you started thinking about civil services? Like, when did it came to your mind that you want to be an IAS or an IPS officer?
Sir, from initial, I mean, from the family side, yes, sir, because any kid who studies well, people will be pushing around, the family will pushing. So yes, sir, my father had that dream as well, and my family members used to say that, like, okay, why don't you try? Like, but for me, I never had that idea. So initially, I was in the college. Yes, I didn't have that idea of doing. So that's why I sat for placements and all. I got into Samsung R&D. So when I was working there, I realized that okay, maybe I want to be in a position where I can have more of an impact. So that's when, after working, then I have to assess the risk and all, because this exam we hear it's a very dicey exam, and it's true as well. So based on that, okay, I felt okay, let me try while in the job, and so and then I, after assessing this, then I made the shift.
Okay. And how was your experience in IIT? I mean, 4 years in IIT, Tell us more about that. That how was that experience? You came from south of India and you landed up in Kanpur, which is not a small town, but I would say in the hinterland of Uttar Pradesh. So how was that experience culturally, academically, in other fields?
Sir, first of all, when I got it, I was actually a bit apprehensive because even I didn't know even Hindi back then. So, so going into the north of India, I mean, I never stayed so far away, like outside the state. So going there, so but I think all those apprehensions were differs, and actually it helped me become a more well-rounded person overall when I look back at it, because that exposure, it helped me learn a new language. It gave me exposure to various cultures. Of course, even when I'm in UP, the students who are in IIT came from all over the country. So, and at IIT Kanpur, we also have a system. I mean, we don't choose our roommates. So it's
Yeah.
roommates and wingmates. In most of the
Yes.
other IITs, we have that option. So people end up choosing only their state mates and all, they stay together, or same department people. But for us, the wing was comprised of all people. It's completely random wing, and those that wing stays together for all the 4 years. So I think having people from different backgrounds, I understanding their mentalities and all. So I think, and so that's been one part, sir. And the second part, other than the academic, whatever the emphasis is there, there's also an emphasis on all-round development as well. So they give a lot of exposure on various clubs and all, various activities, inter-hall competitions, etc. I think being participating in all those, I think makes one more well-rounded as a person, as an individual. So yes,
Yes. Yes.
I'm grateful to those 4 years in IIT Kanpur for making me who I am.
And after IT, you were placed in Samsung R&D, right? You must have gotten a really good package. I mean, so leaving that job would have been really really tough for you. Making that decision between aspiring for an exam that has no kind of guarantee. We have seen so many IIT IM guys wasting their 6 attempts and then going back again. So how tough was that decision when you thought of leaving your job?
Yes, sir. It was a tough decision because I was there in a good position when I was there, because I had got a good start from because of the college I was from. So I received a pre-placement offer in Samsung R&D. So then leaving that to switch, I mean that's why I had to think about it through it a lot. So can I make it, or can I? So, but I think one thing which a friend of mine gave me perspective was, yes, you have a good thing, and that's exactly why you should take the risk. Because even if you fail a couple of attempts, you can always come back, and we already have the network. Like even today, my friends are working in almost all the top companies like Microsoft, Google, Goldman Sachs, any company. So I would easily get the referrals and all from them. So I think that should actually give me a risk appetite. So that's what a friend of mine told me, and yes, I felt it was true. But at the same time, also assess the risk. So first attempt I gave along with the job. I didn't quit my job, sir. So first I gave the prelims. In prelims, I got around 120 back then, which was an extremely good score.
Yes.
So then I gave mains. The preparation wasn't enough, but I could see like, okay, if I do this, yes, so probably I'll be there. So then after I got the mains result and didn't qualify, it was then I quit my job. So it's also about risk assessment and like one also knowing our strengths and knowing our strengths.
Yes. So the first attempt you gave with job, you saw your scores and you felt that okay, I think if I do it full time, definitely I'll be able to crack it. So you took a what we call as calculated risk. It was not like a blind risk. You kind of tried to manage it with a job and then you did it. Now you have got really good marks in CSAT, right? 110 as you were saying. Many people I know have failed in CSAT this year, and some of them even from IITs. I mean, there was one, student I was interacting, and he scored 98 percentile in CAT, and he failed in CSAT this year. Like, how did you prepare for CSAT? Like, what are the things that you kept in mind while solving the paper?
Sir, coming to CSAT, I might not be the best person to guide it because, to be honest, I didn't do anything. Like, I'm not saying this is the strategy like everyone should follow. I'm not saying everyone should ignore CSAT because we have seen the results. How many people have lost CSAT? But again, then my background of it, I have a pretty good problem solving skill coming from an IIT. At the same time, also reasonably good in English. So that's why, and also my previous 3 years scores were above 120, 130. So that's why I personally did not prepare, sir. But I would not suggest everyone to do it. So one should take a call based on their strengths and weaknesses. But I think while solving the paper, I think one issue is, I mean, I've seen some of my friends who are also from IIT go fail in CSAT, and it's a multiple of problems. Like one can be time management, or another can be some people just got stuck in mathematics problems. Maybe took it on their ego and neglected the English part. So I think not doing those mistakes, like picking the low hanging fruits, is very important. So yes, sir, whenever any student is studying, okay, if he or she is from humanities background, maybe if they feel problem solving is in their suit, maybe also they should focus on the low hanging fruits, which they are in their graph, and also focus on eliminating silly mistakes, calculation mistakes, and all. So once we do all these things and also practice again. I mean, one thing I've heard from others is because it's been extremely tough, the PYQ relevance may or might not be there. So it's also we need to practice according to the current toughness. So whatever online resources are there, so try keeping on practice, and if the exam is handled properly, I think we should be able to get the required 66 marks.
Now, with respect to prelims also, I mean, you've seen that this year they had made some change in the GS1 paper also. And again, a lot of the cutoff was just 75, which is 37.5%. Now, many people are saying that it is becoming unpredictable over the time. You have cracked it all the 4 times. So, any specific preparation that you kept in mind while, or any specific framework that you kept in mind while preparing for prelims?
Sir, I would divide the prelims into three parts. So first one is the content, definitely. So we need to cover all the bases, like every static source, whatever is there. We need to I mean, what are all the standard sources? I haven't done anything which is like outright, which no one knows in the market. All the toppers, like even I know many toppers, everyone does the same thing. So, but it's about how well you do it, not what you do it. It's about how well you do it. The first part is having the content well rounded. Second part is a practice because we also need to be able to execute it in the exam. So that comes only with developing an MCQ aptitude. So the difference lies in like, are we able to use our entire knowledge to eliminate at least one or two options? So that our probability becomes positive because at the end of the day, negative marking is 33%. And if we even eliminate one option, our probability of being correct is greater than 33%. So if we go for 10-20 questions, the net probability works in our favor. So it's about developing the MCQ aptitude. and that comes only with practice, sir.
Hmm.
So I used to when I used to answer papers, like last two attempts I didn't have time because of the interview just being before it. But first two attempts I gave a decent number of papers,
Hmm.
and I used to also, and not just knowing the solutions of it, but also thinking like even the questions which went wrong, why did they
Hmm.
go wrong? Like,
Hmm.
was my elimination strategy wrong? Like, or could I have eliminated it better using some technique or some anything which I studied in some other subject, something. So
Hmm.
that is the second part, sir. And finally,
So,
I think the third part is the examination itself,
hmm.
because the examination is becoming unpredictable. I mean, even I don't know more than half the questions in the paper. I don't think any topper
Yes.
knows
Yes.
exactly. I mean, the type of questions they were asking. I mean, they were very random.
Hmm.
But the key point there is to not lose confidence. So
Hmm.
because it is unpredictable, many students who are well prepared and would have qualified also lost because they lost confidence in themselves.
Hmm.
So only when we are cool and composed, we would have the. I mean, will be able to use all of our existing knowledge to at least eliminate options. So that is very important. So like being confident and cool and composed in the exam. So once all these three are taken care of, hopefully we have a good chance of clearing it. Not 100% because of the unpredictability, but good
Okay.
chance.
And how did you make use of the PYQs for prelims and mains? Like how important you feel are the PYQs?
Sir, PYQs are important, but I did not fully grasp the importance of PYQs before. So
Hmm.
because I thought, why would UPSC repeat the PYQs like in board exams? It won't happen. So I used in the first two attempts I did tests, but I never did PYQs. I never touched them.
Hmm.
But when I wrote like 21 prelims, my second prelims, I was like, okay, there was questions which were almost directly coming from PYQs, which were
Hmm.
almost related.
Hmm.
And then in that year mains, there was a question as well, like difference in landslides of Western Ghats and Himalayas, Northeast
Hmm.
and Western Ghats. And
Yeah.
that was a question directly from 2013, which was directly a copy pasted from it. And I couldn't answer that question. And I came to know that rest many other serious candidates they actually answered it because it was
Hmm.
from PYQ.
Yes. Yes.
So yes, sir, it was then I realized, okay, like questions do directly come from PYQ. And for prelims, yes, I didn't have time to do it in the last attempt, but mains I did go through, sir. From third and fourth attempts, I did go through PYQs and solutions. So yes, that should not be ignored. Like,
Okay. And with respect to note taking, so many toppers here in this series have said about the importance of note taking. They made all these notes. So what philosophy did you use to make notes for prelims and mains? Or did you make notes, or were you only relying on the materials provided by the coachings?
sir, I think coming to note making, we also need to know ourselves as well. Like, what is our style of studying, and we need to, and what is the subject? Like, what is the subject? What are the materials available for it? What is our style of studying? And then take a call.
Hmm.
So when it comes to prelims, I mean, I personally don't find much utility in note making because it anyway comes from all the nooks and corners. Even when we make notes, we only make notes of the main points. But now, given the paper, it's only coming from nooks and corners from Lakshmikant and all. So it's better to study the sources directly. That's what I believe. And coming to mains, again, one needs to take a call based on the comfort of revision. So for me, I'm very much comfortable reading long PDFs in which there are only highlighted and all. I'm comfortable reading that. So that, and given the time it takes for note making, I didn't find the ROI worth it. So I directly studied some materials. But again, that revision takes a lot more time in that case. So that's a call which we have to take. And from my notes, I prepared only notes only for GS4. For the in GS4, because there's no, we need some keywords, how the examples and all, which we can directly replicate in the exam. It's not possible to directly study a large material again and again. So for that, I made notes, but for the rest three, I mostly relied on the existing materials.
Okay, and you scored really well in GS3. You scored 100 marks, which GS3 has been a pain point for almost all the last year. Also, so many of the people who've got into IPS and IAS scoring 75 and 80 marks in GS3. So, how did you prepare for GS3? What was the framework that you used to prepare and to write answers?
So coming to, I mean, even my overall JS preparation, I always had good content. So content was never the issue. Like I always had a lot of data, committees and all. I
Yeah.
had it. But when I didn't get the marks to justify it. Like last two times I got GS3, I got 81 and 83 as well. Even I showed the papers to you as well. So I think what improved was because of answer writing, I was able to answer questions which were not so straightforward. Like if we see the JS3 paper this time, sir, some questions were direct, like how does the
Right.
technology help in farmers, which
Hmm.
more or less we could have written. But
Hmm.
most of the questions were somewhat abstract in nature. It was tough to grind out content there.
Hmm.
We to fill 2-3 pages in such a
Hmm.
short period of time.
Hmm.
So I think because and these questions which were straightforward, in my estimation, I was able to write better than others. I was able to write even more data and just cramp it up. Like it was packed. Both the pages were packed.
Hmm.
But the difference maker which I found in this attempt was those questions which were not so straightforward because
Hmm.
of the answer writing practice and all. I was
Hmm.
at least able to put out decent answers to
Hmm.
fill out the pages. They were not great, but they were
Hmm.
decent enough. So
Hmm.
that brought a difference in 1 mark in each question. So that's what, like, if you get half mark extra in each 10 marker and 1 mark
Hmm.
extra in each 15
Yes.
marker, the difference is 15 marks there itself. So I
Yes.
think that was a difference. Even those abstract questions, I was able to fill the pages at least.
Yes, yes, yes. I think I saw that. And with respect to your interview experience, I mean, in that your marks have been declining with every subsequent attempt. UPSC is considering you less efficient in interview. So, how has been your experience? Like, because we see so many of these Instagram reels and all. This question was asked in UPSC interview. So, how was your experience? Like three experience that you have faced. How was your experience with the UPSC interview panel? Like any weird question that was asked to you?
Sir, coming to my days, I don't think I faced many weird questions as such. But and actually, I mean, there's no relation to the YouTube shorts as well. Like I mean, most of the mock interviews, some of them we are seeing they're purely made for clickbaits.
Yes.
Those questions are generally, and I mean, never asked almost.
Uh,
So yes, the board is generally very cordial. Even unlike in 12th phase, the board is never grilling or anything. Like if they don't find you worthy, they just give less marks. They don't argue and try to grill anyone. They're quite friendly, sir. And I believe once we check the personality aspect of it, the personality aspects, the confidence and all, I believe we can score 170 surely. The rest of the part, yes, sir, how well we answer the questions. Like, I mean, I, I mean, I think 10-20 marks is like the open-ended questions, like how do we deal with them spontaneously. I think that's a part, sir. But having said that, finally there is an element of luck because there are different boards, different styles of asking, and sometimes there's not enough scope in the questions. So I think for me, in my first interview when I got 193, there was scope in the questions, sir. Like there were some open-ended questions where I could bring something out of it and surprise them. So whereas this time I received many factual questions where there was nothing much to do. Like I was like, okay, what are allotropes? What are empiric oxides? Differentiate between values and ethics. Like what is the most recent element discovered in the periodic table? Like these are all the questions. So there was nothing much I could do it. Either I know or I don't know. So getting that extra boost was not possible this time. So I think yes, sir. But I think we need to control the controllables throughout the exam process as well. There are elements of luck, but if we control the controllables and everything, yes, sir. Some papers will receive a boost. Some people we need to eliminate any damage possible. So if we
yes.
can do that in interview as well, I think we can get a decent score at least. Sir. And on a good day, who knows? Like we might end up getting 200.
No, I think if you would have got the same score you got in the first interview, you would have been in top 50 this year. So
Yes,
it's always, and with time you improve, but sometimes when the questions are very basic, as you've said, like there's no scope to actually tell your or prove your ability or like say. So coming back to your preparation, so in the first attempt, you failed in mains. So, and I mean, it took you in the second attempt, you were in the list. And in the third attempt, I'm especially talking about the third attempt. So third attempt, definitely you would have been expecting a top rank because you were already in the list. So how big was that setback for you when you saw that your name was not in the list?
Actually, I control F at that time. I couldn't understand. Like, okay,
Huh.
I thought, okay. I mean, all I need to see is like how where is the rank. So earlier, like I didn't find it. I was like, okay, is this a scannable, searchable PDF? I saw it's the first ranker. Yes, it's a searchable PDF. My name is being searched.
Uh,
So yes, it was a disappointment. But I mean, I couldn't understand. Like the
hmm,
bigger thing was like I couldn't understand why marks reduced.
hmm,
Not reduced, I mean, they was just stagnant. Like GS marks
hmm,
didn't increase, except GS4 I got increased from 100 to 120.
Hmm.
But other than that, they were absolutely stagnant.
Hmm.
So I couldn't understand the reason behind it. Like, okay,
Hmm.
like is this pure luck? Is the examination pure luck, or like
Hmm.
why it happened? Because
Hmm.
in my mind, I felt I had better content. Like, because I
Hmm.
also saw the toppers copies and all. I thought, okay, I have better content than this, like some of them. But later out, I figured out it's the execution that matters. So yes, I had better content in my mind, but like
Yes.
what we put out is that matters. And the difference, mainly what happened was the thing which I was talking about earlier as well. I was able to, the questions which are straightforward, I was able to give it completely. I was able to write very good answers. But the questions which were not so straightforward, especially GS2 last time, was very abstract.
Yes.
So in those type of questions, I wasn't able to put out decent answers because of lack
Yes.
of answer writing practice and lack of
Yes.
writing test.
Yes.
And it's not a huge difference because I was only missing the list. Even when I missed the list, it was just by 2 marks.
Hmm.
And even by IAS, I was missing 40 marks. So 40 is
Yes.
10 marks in each paper, which is half mark in each question. So
Yes.
it's about that slight edge which I was missing.
Yes.
So then I understood that, and once I started that, yes.
I still remember after the third attempt, you came to the office, we had a discussion with your paper and all. You were like very at that time, like, "Ki, my marks have been stagnant. I think I'm writing well, but there is there is some problem with you." I know I could see the frustration that was there because definitely, once you because you try to improve with every attempt. If your marks are stagnant, you feel like ab kya kare? What should we do next? So that is also there. Now, and as you have emphasized the very, very important thing that answer writing practice is something which is very important because knowledge is just one part of the story. And the main part is application. Like you need to learn the art of applying the knowledge in 8 minutes. So, what role did mentorship play in your preparation journey?
Sir, I think there is a quote like if we learn from only our mistakes, a lifetime won't be enough to commit all the mistakes. So we need to also learn from others' mistakes and others' learnings as well. So yes, a mentorship. When I came to you as well, actually after after the third attempt, I came for forest interview. At that time, June 20th, I
I
had my
know.
forest interview.
Hmm.
And like 10 days, I went to various people. I met various people in Delhi, like showing my papers, like, okay, what is going on?
Hmm.
And not many people actually gave answers of substance. Like, they were saying very generic comments like, okay, do this, do that, but there's nothing, not many people were able to find out exactly what went wrong.
Hmm.
And you gave some tips, sir, which I felt, okay, this actually, oh, this makes a difference. This is what I'm actually missing in that's why I was getting less marks.
Hmm.
So yes, sir. So that's why I joined your mentorship, and throughout as well, when you were evaluating the papers, I actually found okay, it's the same content. It's not you never advised me to read more content, bring more content. It was
Hmm.
always how do we use the existing content to write a better answer.
Hmm.
So it sometimes gave me a new perspective. Like when I was writing, I wrote the same answer. You said, okay, this could have been written in this manner. I was like,
Hmm.
okay, it's very well in my hand. It's about those all those small tips. So
Hmm.
yes, sir, to have that edge, yes, sir, to a decent level, we can come to by ourselves with the online resources and all. But
Hmm.
having a personal mentorship helps in that getting that extra edge
Hmm.
to because I have seen only my paper and probably a few topper copies. People
Hmm.
like you have actually seen many copies, so
Hmm.
that helped me, sir. Like from your learning from your learnings.
Hmm.
Streamlining it. It's about
Hmm.
the same content, but actually streamlining it to make it better in examination.
Hmm. Okay. Now, did you had any plan B like when you entered this journey? कि नहीं होगा तो like you'll go back to your IT thing. What was it?
Yes, sir, that was the plan B.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
as I saw, I do have many friends in all the good MNCs, so getting referrals is not a big issue. So I can set up interviews. So once
Hmm.
we prepare enough DSA and all the basic stuff, I know I can land up a good job with the college education I had with my projects, work experience and all. So yes,
Hmm.
I didn't have much of it, and yes, there is some uncertainty involved in this process. But I was also confident that even if not, everything goes wrong, I also have a very good fallback option.
Okay. Now we are left with 3 weeks. 3 weeks are left for prelims this year. Now, any suggestion that you would like to give to aspirants? Like, what should they do in last 3 weeks?
Sir, I would give two suggestions. First is now at this point centering their preparation around the execution part. So it's about doing things which would make them replicate their knowledge. It's not about gathering more knowledge at this point of time. It's about doing things which would help that replicate that knowledge in the examination. Like we often feel that our knowledge is inadequate, but people with very less knowledge have actually got very good ranks. So it's about now. So now is the time to consolidate the knowledge, revise repeatedly, write tests, so that it gives them the best possible chance to use that knowledge. So that's the first suggestion, sir. And coming to the second one, it's about the exam day itself. So on that day, how the attitude which you have actually matters a lot. So it's about being composed enough. And if the paper is tough, it's actually tough for everyone else. Like theoretically, we all know it, but
Yes.
practically when we cannot answer some questions, we tend to get tensed up or get worked up. So yes, sir. So I mean, just see it in this manner. Like if we have done all the hard work, we have done all the preparation. If we don't have never seen that question, many others won't. 99% wouldn't have seen that question. And but the good part is, even when such questions are there, many good candidates also lose out on their confidence, and hence
Yes.
we lose out. So if we don't lose our composure, it will be an advantage for us. So if we see it in that manner, like okay, it's great, I don't know question. So then we would have the confidence to use some existing knowledge to eliminate one or two options, and that's what makes a difference when we do it in 10, 20 questions. We get that extra positive instead of going to negative. So being cool and composed on the day of the exam. So I think these two suggestions.
Okay, so thank you, Jaswant, for sharing so good insights about almost every aspects of preparation, and we are really happy that you have got this rank this year. But this is just a beginning. I would say that
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
this is just, I would say, a means. The
Yes, sir.
end is still far away. But definitely, really happy that you have got the success this year, and thank you for coming for this talk.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, and also thank you for to you and all the mentors involved who helped me help me reach this. And yes, sir, thank you for giving me this platform to help me share the knowledge to the next batch.
So, with this, we have come to an end of this episode, and we'll again be back with another topper in the next episode of this Toppers Talk series. So, thank you all. Thank you.